Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the No ID podcast. I have here with me comedian, producer, host, MC, creative. You seen him working with Kenan Thompson's funniest comics. I never met this man before in my life, but I came across him on a Facebook ad, and I've been a fan of his work since. The one and only L.A. Josh Preston.
Told I'm Facebook famous. I've heard that a couple of times. So
You probably are, man. You can't. You had the pose. It was like, it's like
that's showing the power. That's that power right there.
I thought it was like the Michael Jordan, Last Dance. Like, yeah, like like. Oh man, I'm a fan of your work, man. I see what you're building up there in Northern Virginia. You're traveling and doing your thing, so it's great to see other comedians travel and do their thing, man. How is the comedy scene up in Northern Virginia, man?
Well, I'm in a place called Roanoke, Virginia. It's actually Southwest Virginia. Is that
Southwest? Okay.
yeah, Southwest Virginia. It's here. I am trying to make a scene here, and it's been going well. I have 3 open mics that I do here in Roanoke, and then I have 1 in Salem that I do. And usually with my open mics, I usually have a feature comedian come and do a show, or I'll even have a full show and do an open mic after the show. So the comedians who are here in Roanoke can get what I call getting their reps in, and just keep on practicing and practicing, because that's what you need in comedy. You need to get on stage for you to get better and better in this profession.
Correct, man. And I like everything that you're doing. So I've never been to a place where they had an actual show. And so, you know what? We got an open mic as well too, right behind it. So that's actually pretty unique. That's actually pretty dope. So, how long have you been doing comedy, Josh?
I started doing comedy in 1993, and I did it for 8 years. And because being married and about to have a kid with my wife, it was very hard to be on the road and being a husband and a father. So I had to make a decision. So I made the decision to become a husband and a father, focus on that a whole lot more than comedy. And and then after that, once the kids start being grown and be able to take care of themselves and stuff like that, I was able in 2021 of October, so it's been 3 years ago, I was able to say, you know what, and this was pretty much after the pandemic. I said, you know what, I want to go back and do comedy again. So I talked it over with my wife. My wife was on board with it, and so I started doing open mics in a place called the Idiot Box in Greensboro, North Carolina, because there was nothing here in Roanoke, as for open mics go. So I went there and met some great comedians from North Carolina. And so I went there and did start doing open mics for, I'm gonna say, about 6 months. And then one of the owner there just said, hey, why don't you, instead of driving 2 hours to do open mics, why don't you just do open mics in Roanoke? And I really never thought about doing it myself. But I said, but by her saying that, which gave me the confidence, because if her name is Jenny Stencil from the Idiot Box, and she said, and for her to say something like that, it felt like that she had the confidence in me to actually do it. So if she says it, I say, well, if she believes it, I'm gonna start believing it. So I went up and started doing open mics and just kept going there, and then from there just start doing shows, and was able to do my first show March of 2022 at a place called Versus here in Roanoke, and bought a bunch of comedians from Virginia and North Carolina, and then just took off from there.
Yeah, for sure. That's what's up, man. And you said 1993 is when you started. So how was comedy then compared to now? Because now it's like it's more censorship, more cancel culture. Got to be this friendly, not that so friendly.
Yeah, you can say a lot more things back in '93 that you can say now. And I thought about, and when people talk about being canceled and stuff, and let's be honest, I mean, who's really being canceled because of something that they said? Because it's not really that. It's just people are using that cancel culture thing to pretty much boost them up because they feel like, oh, I'm gonna say this and watch me get canceled. It's like, man, nobody's thinking about you right now. There's just too much comedy for anyone to focus on one person and cancel them. Like in
Mm-hmm.
1993, because right now people are so upset because they can't say like the F word or the R word and things like of that nature. But they like it back in the day when you could say that. But the reason why we can't say that now is because we as humans we evolving. I mean, we want here and say, and we want to stop stuff like racism and bullying and things like that. But when it seems like when it comes to comedy, they're upset because we don't tolerate bullying and racism like we did back in the day. I think we're getting better as humans if we're not if we don't want the racism and the homophobic being a homophobe and being fat shaming and all this stuff. If we as humans don't want that around, why should we accept it in comedy? If they don't accept it in comedy, that means we're evolving as people. You know, yeah. I mean that's just my opinion. I just like always I always got I'm always that person that I want comedy to be. I don't want it to be shock comedy. I don't want people to be just saying things to be offensive. No, we as humans we should be past that. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be being our creativity is what makes comedy. And people who are creative, they're soaring. All these offensive people, we're tired of it. I mean, we're about to have an election and one person is nothing but a bully, talks about people and stuff like that. We don't like that when he does it. But people who are in comedy and they do it, oh, we shouldn't be censored. No, you should be censored too. All right, because we don't want to hear that. We're here to have a good time and listen to funny jokes, creative jokes. That's what we're here for. Not for all that bullying and homophobic and fat shaming and things of that nature. We're not here for that.
I'm glad you said that, man. Because when I first started, I heard it and I was like, I ain't doing that shit because I can't do it because I have something called integrity and I want a
Right,
legacy for my like I have a legacy. Like if I was to have children, I don't want 10, 20 years from now them kids see me using those type of words.
right,
And I appreciate you standing up for that because a lot of people don't realize the true essence of comedy is vulnerability, and a lot of comedians focus on the crude humor. They do the shit. Excuse my language. I know you're not really a cusser, but they do the shit
uh,
that just seems like they're gonna get a laugh, or it's gonna be like, ooh, make it cringe. But
right.
if you listen to, I mean, I know he had his flaws. Like he listened to like a Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy or Kevin Hart. They were very vulnerable on their stage talking about their life experiences and stuff like that. It
Right.
wasn't a lot of crude humor, especially Kev. I seen Kevin laugh before. I did not hear no crude humor whatsoever, or that dark word, or the R word, or the homophobia. None of that. I didn't hear it, and I'm like, oh, thank you,
Yeah.
somebody. Damn.
And like I said, we're evolving it as humans. Man. Everybody wants to. It seems like racism, just like with the racism and oh, I can't say racist jokes. No, we're grown people. Stop with it, man. I mean, there's a couple maybe racist jokes that you don't mean. People aren't offensive, but nobody's doing that. It was like what was it, Mickey Rooney or sitting there just talking about every kind of people. No, we have grown. We're tired of it, and
Yeah,
you know,
can't live through it, man. Mm. Now, I'm gonna go all around because no idea is all around. We don't have one specific way.
All right.
Now, you did work with the Kenan Thompson's Funniest Comics, and you actually did a show with the Kenan Thompson Experience. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
How
In Atlantic
was
City.
that?
Atlantic City.
How was that?
It was a great experience. And a lot of people with the Kenan Thompson thing, people are always saying, "Oh, they're just using you for money, and they're just, you got to pay them to do all this stuff." You don't have to pay them anything. If you're good, they're gonna say, "Hey, can you do this show?" And if you can, you can. If you can't, okay, we'll just wait for the next one. The Kenan Thompson one, he was there, and I was picked by another producer in New Jersey. His name is Matt Bridgestone. And
Mm-hmm.
they said pick comedians that would go up there and do a great job. And for me being from Virginia, I did a show with him in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And he told me, "You were the only comedian that I can remember being funny." So he went and picked me, a guy from Roanoke, Virginia, to do shows in Atlantic City in front of Kenan Thompson. I mean, I'm sure he had friends in New Jersey, probably in Pennsylvania, all around there. But he picked me from Roanoke, Virginia, and it felt real great. I felt honored doing that because I'm one of those comedians that I'm very rememberable. I'm not doing jokes that people wake up the next morning and be like, "Man, what did he say?" Because you get a lot of that. People say, "Oh, he was funny." Well, what joke did he say? He was talking about I don't remember. At least I know with my jokes, people will not remember one or two of my jokes are like, "Oh, he does the DMX thing or the Martin Luther King thing or the Trap Baby," or yeah, it's a lot of jokes that I do that people will remember it. And I just say with the Kenan Thompson, he was a very, very nice guy. I was the only person that was able to do a video with him because he was just sitting. He was just sitting there and nobody was talking to him. I don't know if they were nervous or whatever. I just went up to him and said, "Hey," I explained myself. I introduced who I was. I said, "Hey, can I do a video with you?" And I did it as a joke. So I want you to do a video with me so to prove to my wife and kids that I'm actually here with you doing a comedy show and not in Atlantic City gambling up all the money. Okay, because I love to gamble. I play blackjack and craps. That is my thing. That's why if anybody who's in Vegas, anyone who's in Atlantic City, anywhere where there's a casino, if you call me up and say, "Hey, would you like to do a show?" Let's go, because I am there. And so we did a video. I showed it to my wife and kids, and they're like, "Oh, so you really are with him, huh?" Because my wife loves SNL. So I was glad I was able to do that for them.
That is a blessing, man. Yeah, man. I remember when that thing first rolled out a couple of years ago. Actually, I got selected my daggone self.
All right.
I don't know what I had other projects going, but that's dope. Kenan Thompson, that man is a legend. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about we talk early '90s, Mighty Duck, all that. Fat Albert,
That's right. That's right. And it
the
was nice to
versatility.
actually meet a celebrity of the now. A lot of people meet celebrities that were celebrities maybe 20, 30 years ago. But to meet a celebrity that is a celebrity right now, that's a good thing.
Now, when those celebrities like, yeah, I was hot back in the '80s.
Hey, Jeff Crummy was on Comic View 6 times. Now you're
I
here
did
with me
Comic View
doing a
6 times.
bar show.
You get that so much, man.
Yeah.
Who was some of your inspirations in comedy? Like who was those comedians or who was that comedian? You was like, why I you gravitated to more towards you was like, you know what, I gotta try this. Cause you've been in different eras of comedy. You've been in the Def Comedy Jam, the Comic View era to the
Right.
Netflix special era. So who are those comedians?
Well, in the beginning, it had to be D.L. Hughley and Bernie Mac. And the reason why I say that is that I wasn't even planning on being a comedian. I I went to a comedy show in Green. It was 1993, July 16th. I remember. I went to a show. It was D.L. Hughley and Bernie Mac, and I sat there and I was just watching them being. Because before that, they had a comedy contest, and I believe a guy named Sherman Golden won. I was like, oh, he's just a new comedian starting out, and he won this, and he was able to go on tour, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then Bernie Mac and DL Hughley start doing their show, and what got me is that the people around, it was black people, white people, Latinos, Asian, Middle Eastern. It didn't rich, poor. They were male, female. It didn't matter. We were all sitting there laughing and having a good time. And I say, this is a kind of atmosphere I want, because I'm a very diverse person. So I wanted that kind of atmosphere. You know, I want black people, white people, Asian, rich, poor, tall, short, all people coming to my shows. And that's why I'm pretty much, when it comes to doing my shows, I'm not the type of person to say, just be a decent human being. That's what I want comics to do. Well, what kind of show should I do? I said, just be a decent human being. That's all. You know what jokes that are gonna be, people are gonna be like offensive and stuff like that. Just be decent. That's all you want to be. And me watching them two perform and all those people laughing, don't matter who they were, I was like, that's the kind of place I want to be. So I was like, yo, I'm pretty funny. I got a few jokes that I can think of. So I went and wrote. I remember July 17th. I wrote some of my jokes, and I went to the Roanoke Comedy Club. They had open mics. I believe it was on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and I went there and tried out the jokes. Got some laughs, and the same people, black, white, whatever, were laughing. I was like, see, that's what happened when I went to Greensboro. So I talked to the owner, and he said, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. And that's what I did. And then it took me about 6 months it took me about a year to feel real comfortable to start hosting. And it took me about 2 years to feature, and that's what I was doing. So I guess you could say D.L. Hughley and Bernie Mac, the way they performed got me really started into comedy. But as for Eddie Murphy, was the first person I seen do stand-up comedy. He was the first person, because I love sitcoms. I love movies. I like shows like Martin and Living Single and all those different world, Cosby Show. It was funny, but also they had serious moments. So it wasn't always bang, bang, funny, funny, funny. It wasn't until I saw Eddie Murphy's Raw comedy where I saw, whoa, there are people actually, you can be funny like constantly. I mean, this dude was on stage for like over an hour, like an hour and a half, just being funny straight through. I was like, oh, so I started getting into stand-up comedy and start looking at other comedians like Richard Pryor and there was so many, George Carlin and people of that nature, and I started digging into stand-up comedy because of that.
Yeah, man. I just watched Delirious probably for the third time this week. And it was November 3rd, so obviously I've been watching it constantly because they had it free on Pluto.
Okay.
And Raw is a genius thing.
Yeah.
Now Bernie Mac is forever will be goated as a beast, and D.L. Hughley, I think when it comes to the original kings of comedy, he's a sleeper.
Yes.
He's a sleeper. People don't realize that man already had 2 specials out prior to him actually doing not Def Comedy Jam, Kings of Comedy. Like, he had that when HBO used to do those 30-minute blocks, a stand-up special, and then he had the going home joint when he wore that yellow canary suit. Cool guy. Yeah. I got to open up for him once. Cool guy.
Yeah.
But it was so amazing, and like I see it now. Like, what I like about it, like you was talking about being a decent human being, is I appreciate that, because like I said, I see a lot of crudeness. I see a lot of undercutting, because I don't know if you experienced the undercut in Roanoke, but it's like a lot of undercutting. It's like, let me take 6 of my homeboys with me, and I'm going to put them on every show, and the rest of y'all got to fend for yourselves. And I'm going to throw somebody the bone, but I don't want that person throwing the bone to be better than me. So
Right.
I'm going to shit on them.
The problem I have in Roanoke is because I'm pretty much the only one doing comedy shows here. If there were if I didn't do any comedy shows here in Roanoke, there'd be one open mic that's done once every, who knows, 2 months. But since I'm doing the open mics and having people come on stage, I'm getting, I don't even want to say, well, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I get a lot of hate here in Roanoke, but there's a lot of comedians that support me, and they outweigh the hate, and so I'm just out here just doing my comedy show. I've told the comedians, I know you don't like me. I know you don't. Just go over there and just leave me alone. Just let me be. And I'll be over here doing my comedy show. But the problem is that they see what I'm doing and then they want to come in and undercut you. I don't know if you saw the thing on Facebook when I did the thing about Corey Holcomb, when he said these people will go through the front door if they could. And that's what they've been. I have been minding my business doing my comedy shows, not messing with anyone. And here they come, going through my comedy shows and stuff. And I'm telling them, hey man, if you want this to really work, we gotta air some stuff out. But as soon as you try to air it out, they always got something to make it blame on you, or saying that it's your fault. You're the reason why. I had a comedian sit there and just say, "You just mad I don't book. You're not booking me on your shows because you're just mad because we're better than you." And I said, "Do you know what you're saying right now?" So I'm not booking you on my show because you're better than me. So you know what you're saying, that all the people that I book on my show aren't better than me. And you're also better than everybody who ever booked on my show. That's what you're saying right now. And when I bring stuff back, because when it comes to the internet, people will say stuff on the internet and they just think it's over. Not with me. When you say something on the internet, I'm going to respond. And if I meet you in person, I'm going to respond the same way. I keep that same energy. Because I just did a show on Saturday, a comedy competition. And the person knows he doesn't like me. No, I doesn't like him. But during the show, this dude's going to try and stick out and shake my hand. No! Keep that same energy that you do on Facebook or anywhere else on social media. Keep that same energy when we meet in person. That's it. Keep the same energy. Don't act like we're friends, because you know we're not. And just leave me alone. Let me do my open mics and my comedy in peace. Do your own thing. But they can't. And I hate to be sitting here saying this and being all negative and stuff, because I'm a very positive person. I like talking about good stuff and everything. But sometimes you got to sit here and say, enough is enough. It's time for me to stop trying to be the bigger person all the time. I'm done being the bigger person. I'm going out here and I am going full force. Usually in Roanoke, I was like, okay, I got enough stuff in Roanoke. I'll let y'all get this or get that, do whatever. Now I'm at the point where, you know what? I'm just going to just do anything and everything possible to get more shows, to get more people on, because there are comedians here in Roanoke, Virginia, that if they get enough reps, get enough time in their hands, they are going to be great. I say give them like another year, there are going to be some great comedians coming out of Roanoke. And I'm just trying to steer them in the right direction. This is what you need to do to get where you need to be. And hopefully they'll listen to me and they'll stay with me, stick with me, and we can grow together. Because that's what I want to do. I want to grow Roanoke into, when there's comedy, people will say, hey, come to Roanoke, Virginia. They got some good comedians there. So that's all I'm trying to do right now. That's my main thing.
This for the people that's out here listening and watching. This is my first time talking to Josh. So I'm gonna just say it seems like a very genuine thing, because as comedians, right, you do see a lot of the undercuts. And I have this saying that I use when I say everybody wants to be a big shark in a small pond. And those wannabe big sharks are drowning consistently.
Yes.
Consistently. The hate is real. The undercut is real. The beefs are fucking real. The beefs are real. Cat Williams.
Oh man, that
Earlier this year, this big beef, and people who were scared of Cat interview. Nobody knows what Cat was popping up with, and it was like, oh, Cat tripping. No, it's legitimately real. I personally have had my beefs. I have one still floating in there. The rest of them are squash. I have one floating to the point where I will not speak to this person at all. That person has bashed me for over a year and some change now online and to other people, and all those people got on his side and just I was like, you know what? I know where y'all at because I felt energy. But I noticed that when you do something big, the more the hate comes. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yes, yes.
And they like, what?
I mean,
They trying to figure out what you doing.
right. These same comedians are sitting there saying that I'm jealous of them. I have performed in more states than they have done open mics this year. How am I jealous of you? I'm doing 4 comedy shows just by myself. What are you doing? And I left it like that. How am I jealous of you? What have you done? You get no response. But you'll get the hate though. You'll get the hate. I'm like,
The
what?
big
I just laugh when the people are saying that I'm jealous of them. Of what? Have you checked my resume and can compare it to yours? Please explain why I'm jealous. Cricket.
that cricket, and they know what's crazy is like it's always those comedians that don't book work, not funny, rush their process, don't post. So don't post comedy clips. I noticed that too. I'm not shitting. I'm not talking trash about nobody that's not posting a comedy clip. But I want you comedians to listen to this. When you submit for a comedy club or a competition, or you submitting to an agency, booking agencies, whatever, they always ask you 2 things: what's your website, and what is your social media handle? And if you don't have anything on your social media handle, they will not. They be like, well, I don't know if he do comedy or not.
Right.
All I just see is a flyer. He could be doing a flyer to making chicken wings in Roanoke, Virginia. He could be
Right.
doing. I'm like, yo,
Or they'll do still pictures. You don't hear them. It's just a bunch of still pictures posing.
with a motivational video, a motivational music playing in the background. I came up from the ground. Once you put Wi-Fi in the microwave, it turns up a little bit. Once you, I'm like, what are you? What? It's like, let us know you do
Tell them now
comedy.
we're here. That's what playing in the background.
I'm like, come on, man. Like, bro, I had seen one comedian here in the 757 legitimately will repost Drewski skits. Like she will post a Drewski skit, and they was like, "Man, she got over 60,000 followers." I'm like, "Bro, it's algorithm. If Drewski is popping right now, if she reposted him, more than likely they're going to go to her page and think that's Drewski." That's what I was doing. I'm like, you were falling for it.
Oh man.
That frustration is real with these some people, like the YouTube. Just jokes do get stole. Some people do end up sounding alike. It's nothing but a genuine conversation. So a lot of times it's just a mistake because y'all around each other. But that's another conversation. It's like, yeah, let's relax, man. It's not that deep.
Yeah, the YouTube comedians. I have no problem with the YouTube comedian. Only thing I have a problem with are the people that's doing Walmart pranks, and they think they're original. I say Walmart pranks, and they go and do the same Walmart prank that someone else did, and you're trying to tell me these are rich. And when you go on stage, you're trying to tell me that you're doing original comedy, where you can, when you go on YouTube, all you do are Walmart pranks that you've seen other people do. And just because you in Target doesn't mean it's not a Walmart prank. It's still a Walmart prank. Don't care if you in Food Lion, it's still a Walmart prank. All these people. And it's funny, every thumbnail got a person with a big ass. A woman with a big ass. That's their thumbnail right there. So you can click on it. Get out of here, man. Oh, the gold digger prank. Everybody got a gold digger prank. the dude, can you borrow some money? Oh no. Then they hop into one of these nice cars. Oh, that's your car. I was like, I know y'all ain't trying to think that we think this is real, right? I know you're not trying to act. This is fake. But there's some people that just trying to act like that this is real. This is how it really happens. Like, yeah, you even put a microphone on her too. At that time, yeah, that was yeah. What?
We didn't see the tripod with the camera set up on down the way that's getting different angle cuts, you know?
Yeah,
It
like
is
man,
what it is. What's some advice that you would give? Well, you already said be a decent human. What's some other advice you would give to a comedian or somebody looking at getting into comedy? What advice would you give them?
I would write your own jokes. That's the main thing. Don't don't look at one person's joke and be like, ooh, if I just change it like this, I can use it as my own. No, it's their joke. Be original, be creative. That's the one thing. And two, go to open mics. Go.
I
I mean,
agree.
I started with my open. I drove 2 hours, and people are saying, "You drive 2 hours just to do 5 minutes?" Yes, I would drive 3 hours. I would drive 4 hours. I will drive if I got a chance to do an open mic. If I'm sitting at home, like man, there's nothing to do. And stuff. Kids are sitting there playing video games. Wife is watching TV. You know what? I'm gonna just go to an open mic. If I just find out where's an open mic, and I'll just go there. I'll just pop up. And that's what I tell people: go to open mics. People sit here and think they're too good to do open mics. There's people that wonder why they don't get booked. Like there's one person that actually came to me and said, "How come you don't book me for your shows?" And I say, "Cause you, where are you working? You're not working anywhere. I don't see you at any open mics. I don't see you doing any shows. So if you're not working, I'm not gonna book you. I'm booking the people that are working out here doing the job, doing what they need to do to get ahead." Because I'm thinking, if you're not working and you want to get booked, if you go do a show, you're gonna, to, to me, you're gonna just do hacky comedy. You're just gonna do, or you're gonna do comedy that you did 2 years ago. I mean, there's no growth. I tell comedians all the time, see what you've done in 1 year compared to like last year, and compared to what you did this year. Compare the two, and see if you've gotten any better. 9 times out of 10, they haven't even gotten any better. They're just doing the same jokes over and over again. At least with me, when I do a joke, like I will do one joke, and then next year it could be the same joke, but I've changed stuff around. I've used different names. It's a longer set. Usually you do a joke, it's like only 1 minute. Now it's 4 or 5 minutes. I've constantly tried to improve even the old jokes that I do. I constantly improve those jokes because to me, you can never
Big fact. You're right. You gotta big facts. You gotta have like those different styles. Clean, church clean, corporate clean. Church clean is that right there. I'm still learning. That's a beast. Church clean, uh, club. You got club clean. Um, you got theaters. It's like different ones. I could do both. I just you know how you was a kid and you heard that that song on the radio that had all the cuss words in it, but you're in the car with your mom and you don't want to cuss you all the cuss words, so instead of saying ass, you say butt or handy or something. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'd be like, I gotta do it that way. But I dare you. I dare you. Josh, brother, I really appreciate the interview, man, and the time that you took with everything. Okay. Yeah, yeah. That's big facts. Josh, if the people want to find you, man, how can they get in contact with you, see your stuff? What can they look for you at? Okay.